You did those by hand? I thought you said you had a stamp, Tracy.
What's that?
I thought you said you had a stamp.
I did.
Oh, looks like real.
Regulations for installing buildings.
Well, shall we get at it?
Yes.
Do one more time?
Sure.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, good afternoon. We'll start the public hearing for the animal shelter property. Pursue Iowa Code 331.361-2.
Public input?
Yep,
Up here.
sure.
John. Mike and John Elwick. We're trustees for the Jeanette Elwick estate that farms the land adjacent to the property proposed for sale and where the property originally belonged before it was a school. And we've been here again with the supervisors about 3 times. We tried to work with the Conservation Commission several times. I'm glad to see that they're saying it's not suitable for conservation purposes, and kind of appears like they're washing their hands and turning over to the supervisors, for the supervisors to take care of it, which I appreciate, because so far I haven't seen any intent at all from the Conservation Commission to honor any previous wishes, intents of any of the previous owners. This goes back to when originally it was a school, and then Taylor Township did it back to the landowner as per Iowa code. And for some reason, I don't know why yet, the Fish and Game Commission talked Ida Edmonds into giving a quit claim deed with the stipulation that the property would forever be a wildlife refuge area. It's never been a wildlife refuge area. It's a silly place to be a wildlife refuge area. Blacktop Road, probably wasn't Blacktop Road in those days, but right in the corner. We have farmed that. 4 other parties have farmed that over the years, and a piece of property in the corner of a field farming is just a pain. It's you're concerned about drift, concerned about just end rows. There's always encroachment. From the beacon map, it looks like the property now extends out 40 feet past the property line. There's trees out there, roots of the trees come out the field. So we've been before the county supervisors, before the Conservation Commission, and every time, and I'm probably today it'll be the same thing. I won't call them loopholes, but I tell you what, we come up, we give our spiel, and then we go home and, hey, guess what? We found this, we found that, we found this. So the first thing they found was, and we helped the city or the county do half of this work back in the old days. In 2015, we met with the supervisors, and it's a quote from the minutes. The Elwicks wanted the board to be aware of the land use restriction included on the deed issue in 1948, limiting the use of the property to a wildlife refuge. The board acknowledged that they were not aware of the 1948 deed restriction. Mike Elwick questioned if the property was not used as a wildlife refuge, would it have to revert back to the landowner? There was no action taken. The board stated that the leasing facility for another use should not be pursued. So that was in 2015, and nothing happened. They were considered leasing it to another thing. It was, as you all know, it was the dog pound. And so in 2017, same thing comes up. Oops, it's going to be leased again for something else. So another supervisors meeting. We attended that meeting, January 10th of 17, and we offered, again, earlier we'd offered to swap it. Our thoughts all along have been, we don't want anything, we know it was given away, but we offered an easement along the north property of our property there, along the railroad tracks, size for size, acre for acre, whatever it ends up being, that the people of Vinton could hike, bike, horseback ride, whatever, from Stony Arch along the railroad tracks, across the county road to the property behind the county home that's a wildlife area there. Win-win. No money exchanges, that's just swap. No, don't want to do that. That's not feasible. The conservation people have wanted money out of this thing since day one. They never once cared about being a wildlife refuge. This 2017 meeting, this is notes from that meeting, January 10th, January 17th, January 10th. David Thompson, county attorney, told the county supervisors on January 10th the title abstract was brought up to date, and he believes the property is owned by the county. An Iowa law allows land use for a school to revert to the original property owner once it is no longer used as a school. It certainly appears that that land was in possession of Miss Ida Edmonds, and she went ahead and gave it to Benton County by quitclaim deed, said Thompson. This deed was recorded in 1949, and Edmonds placed some strict restrictions, among them that the land should never be used for any other purpose except as a permanent wildlife refuge. We are bound by that, said Thompson. Continuing on the same meeting, and to show that how we've tried working with the county, Mike Elwick thanked board members for their diligence researching the land ownership and title, and expressed an interest in a land swap which could permit a trail to be created connecting the city to another nearby conservation area. Karen Phelps, director at the time, said no interest. Again, quoting Thompson at the same meeting, the cloud, if you did have a swap, the cloud hanging over swap is that Edmonds had very specific language prohibiting the land's use for anything other than a wildlife refuge. We have to make sure that we are not violating the spirit of that. Again, it goes back to the intent since day one. The intent was to, since it didn't go back to being the landowners, that wildlife forever. And again, a silly wildlife refuge, but that's the intent that these conservation kind of just ignored. So after that meeting, nothing's happened again until December 2024, when we read in the paper, there has been never one bit of two-way communication between the county, the conservation, or us, to us. Us going to them, us giving our case, everybody kind of glad-handing and go away, and then behind the scenes work comes with a reason why we can't do what we suggested. So life goes on. So 7 years go by. We're still farming. Land's getting smaller and smaller that the property's encroaching. So comes the for sale bill in December of 2024. Out of the blue, it's for sale. Well, what? Okay. So we go to meetings and we try to learn some stuff. And part of the sale bill was there's a plus to sell the property was there city water in the line. City water on the property. That city water comes from our property. There was no easement. There was no, I don't know why people even do title searches when they buy property. You don't find it. We couldn't find the thing about the restriction of Ida Edmonds's on our title search. We didn't find anything about the water line on our title search. Everybody else always finds these things, you know. And so there's a water line, just goes right across our field. Tile line's out there, and we got to go around this water line. So we were going to contest that. Well, about that time, they pulled it off the market. It's not for sale. We heard it was because they wanted to get a good title opinion, which in 2017 looked like they had a pretty good title opinion from the county attorney. So comes back now to, that's when they said it was unsuitable for conservation purposes. So I figured that day they washed their hands, and it's you guys' thing. And I hope that's who I just soon work with was you guys. You may not agree, but that's the way I see it. They don't want it. And I think maybe you guys had a little bit more of an open mind saying, hey, let's maybe do what's right for a change. Back on the market in 2025, I came to the meeting August or September 12th with some documents, thinking I was going to have the opportunity to speak. And Haley said, no, there's no time for speaking at this meeting. So I left copy of a brief letter to supervisors, to the county attorney, and to the conservation. In it, mentioned our feelings about the whole thing and about this water line. Left that meeting, feeling like there was no meeting, so I went home and kind of just thought about it. So I hate texting, I hate emails, I hate phone calls, so I wanted to just meet with the conservation director and just meet. So I called her up. I said, I'd like to come out to talk. No, let's talk on the phone. I said, well, it's easier said, no, let's talk on the phone. What do you got to say? So I say, okay, here's the deal. Give kind of the whole recap of stuff, And I said, really, we would just love to swap that land. I just think it's the right thing for the county, right thing for the conservation, right thing for everything. And it'd be a parcel, equal size. We're not trying to gain land or lose land, just farm better and take some headlands out over here that will give you the full easement, and not trying to squeeze in a couple rows out of it. And she said, well, that sounds interesting. So we talked more and more. And I said, so I'm thinking during this conversation, I thought if we went together and went to the board and kind of proposed this, we could have this kind of win-win. She goes, nope. I said, no, that'd be just too much work, too much effort on our part. We don't want to do it. I said, okay, I was hoping we could just work something out. Nope. I said, okay, like I said in my letter, I said, if you're really going to put this up for sale and you're not even going to deal with this, then, we have to address this water line. And so we plan on getting it cut off. You want to go to jail? That's a criminal offense, is a quote. That's what she tells me. I said, okay. We have no easement. So I go back and I go, okay, we better find out where the easement is. I see you nod your head. I said, that's fine. Okay, you can nod your head. So I go back and I try to talk to the county attorney. I call up there and they say, you can't talk to him, have to talk to the assistant county attorney. I said, Ray's been handling this. No, we've turned it over to the assistant county attorney. And so I said, can I speak to him? No, you have to email him. I said, you have to email him. So I emailed him. And a week goes by, no answer in the email. So I call back again. I said, did the assistant county attorney get my email? I don't know. I said, well, she said, I'll email him again to tell him, did he get your email? Okay, so another week goes by. Never get a response from him. So 2 weeks to the day, we go back up, John and I both go back up and see this assistant county attorney. We walk into the office there, the secretary's office. This assistant county attorney in, she goes, I don't know. And looks kind of funny like. I said, okay, could you check to see if he is? Okay. So she goes back in, have a seat. So we sit out in the hall like we're on juvie duty or something like that, instead of going to anybody's office, we're just plunked down the hall. We wait and we wait and we wait. Voices back in the back room, voices back in the back room. Ray comes out of one office into here. Secretary finally comes out. We wait and we wait. And finally, the assistant county attorney comes out and says, what can I help you with? Well, I said, we wanted to see about, I emailed you. I sent you an email. I said, ooh, boy, sorry, I guess I checked my junk and I checked my trash. I didn't get it. I'll go print it off for you again. And he stomps out. Gone a long time. Comes back out the hallway again. We're still sitting out here like kids. He said, I guess I didn't. It was in the outbox, he said. And so he typed up a new letter dated October 7th, the day we're there, saying, and that letter says, a water and sewer easement agreement with the city of Vinton should be filed with the recorder's office back in the early 2000s. That is all I can provide you. And that's all I asked for was a water easement. I don't know why you mentioned sewer, because there was no sewer. So we had nothing there. So we went back down to see Lexa again, after about 20 times, she's getting tired of this, try and find anything on this water easement. No water easement. And I'm sure by the time you guys have had a week or so, there's going to be another thing on that easement that's going to say, no, we have to do it. So I'm expecting that. I'm expecting it. And if that happens, then I would like to say, can we work together? Can we get that line rerouted around to that property? If you guys really want the water in the property to increase the value of the sale, if you're really going to sell it, then let's get it out. It's not serving any purpose now, except it's worth dollars. It was there, I suppose, for the dog pound. like I said, didn't know it was there when we bought the farm. But we would like to get it out of there. And if we don't want to go to jail, do it. So we probably won't just cut it off, but we don't want to, but we want it moved. We'd also like to have the trees that are growing on our property disposed of and the land reverted back to nature. Well, I guess trees are nature. They're planted trees, I think. So we don't want that. We still just as soon swap the land and put this thing behind us once and for all. If you sell it, we're going to have to probably bid on it, bid on the land that was never done what it's intended to be. We're going to have to buy it back. We're going to have to clear it and all that kind of stuff just to kind of make things right. And we're proposing that let's do a swap and forget all this other kitty crap that's been going on. It's just wrong to find a loophole for Ida Edmonds and her thinking this thing, she was dead. That's why she didn't redo it in 21 years. You know, I mean, that's the silliest thing I ever heard of, that you think you're going to give some wildlife refuge forever. No, you died. You screwed up. That's about it. I also think that if they do sell it, I don't think you ought to split the money with the conservation. They've washed their hands of it. I think the county ought to keep the money themselves. Let's take the value of that land out of the equation, and let's just for once try to do something that's right. And we're willing to talk more, and I'm sure you guys, I'm sure plenty of rebuttals to what we have to say, but we're on the right side here. I don't care what intent, in law, intent has a lot to say also.
First off, and I said this to Shelby too, you can't swamp easements for land rights. Easements are use rights. It's illegal per the code. I have said that, and I know she knows that, and all that. As far as that email goes, I had it in draft status, and I forgot to press the send button. So that's why it popped up October 7th, whatever, and I had to go try to find it. But that's literally all I can say legally, because I represent them and her and the county.
We didn't ask for
this is my time to talk. I'm not asking. I was telling you, that's all I could do for you before I crossed the line ethically for my client's sake. And I can't do that. All right? Now, to the second part. It technically has not been a wildlife refuge probably since 1952, when there was an easement to the state of Iowa to put a highway next to it and essentially give them some of the land to run the highway to. Now, I handed out to a board a handful of papers, including the quiet title case, judgment and decree. Just touched all the points there because legally the court agreed that this rests into the state, or I'm so used to the criminal side, rests into the county's property. There should be no restraint against it because of something called the Record Markable Title Act, which has been in place since like 1940s, 1950s, honestly around that era, because I had to even do some timing checks and stuff with it too. Now, they put rules out there, and the Supreme Court has said on several occasions that this law is constitutional, and the whole idea and purpose of it is not to constrain land until the end of eternity. And as you go and read, I did put out marks there as far as like what the court has said. The court has said that they essentially found that no appearance to any relatives or nothing has been on the record. We had to get guardian ad litem to represent other parties per the code. And in those court filings, they agreed with my assessment as well, my argument. The court found in favor of it, calling this absolute owner and fee simple, which essentially means we own it with no constraints. And it further says shall be said defendants in each and all of them, which as Edmonds family and anybody connected shall be forever barred to stop from having a claim, having or claiming to have any right, title, or interest in and to said property adverse to the plaintiff. So essentially, that gives, like, all that's gone. All those constraints are gone. Okay? Because as far as like the legal world goes, there's very specialized areas. There's people who specialize in real estate. I had to really learn a lot about real estate law, handling this deal. And I was confident when I submitted everything, and the judge agreed, he signed it, ordered it to that much. And then the second part, as you guys are seeing, you can see the land survey of the property, and it's a certified copy, and here's a copy if anybody wants to look at it. I don't care, it's gonna be old public record, and it's a survey of that whole piece of land. And the big important part is when you're dealing with these deeds and stuff, they usually, at some point, they reference back to a book number and a page number of a survey. That's just to give the most accurate description of land. And so when you go down to this easement and water service agreement, this is back in 2002. It says in there it's with the merchants to the city of Vinton in 02, and it's dealing with this property at book 7 at page 280. So that parcel A that I kind of highlighted on there for y'all. When you go down in there, it says now therefore, and after that it has 3 different paragraphs. The first paragraph essentially says, and I'm just going to throw in the people's words in there, the merchants do hereby grant and convey to the city a permanent easement for the purpose of installing, repairing, and maintaining a water line with the right of ingress and egress thereto under the real estate in Benton County, Iowa, owned by the merchants and described as follows. Again, they state that land description. And in the second paragraph, they essentially agreed to provide, I'm assuming, water services to their home property, city water services. And in the third paragraph, it says the provisions thereof shall inure to the benefit of and bind the successors, heirs, and assigns of the respective parties, and hereto, and all covenants shall apply to and run with the land, which essentially means that these rights continue to go from person to person. Now, when we go into the next part, the resolution, you can see my highlights there. In the middle of it, it says, and this is the resolution with the city. And this occurred on April 20 of 02, excuse me. It says purpose, agreed to this easement, purpose of installing, repairing, and maintaining a water line, right of ingress, egress thereto, under the above described real estate in exchange for the city providing water service to said individuals at their residence at such and such. To me, when I read that, they purposely, with the easement, meant it to be 2 separate things, like as far as like the easement to under the land for providing water services, probably to people within the city limits at that time, or soon to be, because we kind of talked in yesterday, or last week's meeting too, that back, I think it's 2004, give or take, there was an annexation of property to the city, which included this land as the whole, plus our little 1 acre property, and that is kind of seen on the next deal. I didn't pull the resolution for the county and whatnot, but resolution with the city, and this is to the public, done in 04. Annexation of certain property to the city of Vinton. It says, whereas Benton County Board of Supervisors have consented to include the animal shelter property in annexation in order to create a more uniform boundary. And then the annexation is complete upon acknowledgement by the Secretary of State that the Secretary of State has received the legal description, mapping, and resolution, which you'll see down there. There's that letter from the Secretary of State Furthermore, if it's all about the water stuff, you know, City of Vinton does have ordinances in place that we're within the city limits, you know, we have the right to get that water, if it shall be reasonable. We've been receiving that water ever since, I'm assuming they've already put in these lines. I don't know those dates off the top of my head, but I know that we've been paying a bill to the city of, Vinton probably for some time for both sanitary and water rights. And so, to me, as far as like the easement goes, that's with the city, that has nothing to do with us, because we receive water from the city, and I contacted someone at the city, and they said that they, obviously do receive water from the city, and it's connected to their lines that, we spot right down the fence line. And I didn't think it was necessary to get those things, because I just needed to hear that we were connected to the city water line, which, would meet all that. So as far as like easement stuff goes, you know, that's the city's easements, not the county's. Just wanna make that clear as well. But as far as like the goal, I know in pursuing this, the goal is to make sure that we had clean title to transfer properly. And I know I've said in the past, there are certain rules and whatnot we have to abide to in handling these types of land transactions. And anytime you're talking about swamp and whatnot, it has to be for like property of like characteristics. And I don't know if you're just gonna get this with this property. So, given that, that's why I think we all, talked about pursuing like the sale and stuff, and why we are here. So any questions from you fellas? Okay,
So this property was originally a school.
back in oh my goodness, I'm gonna screw up the
Long time
dates.
ago.
In the late 1800s.
And then, when they were done being a school, it went to this Ida Edmonds.
It went, to her family.
Okay.
Because there was so much, so in the title exchange, so back, excuse me, probably in about, I'm gonna screw up the date,
Long time.
1930s, 1940s range, there was another quiet title action brought for all this property because there were so many partitions happened after the father passed away. There looked like, I don't know if they had bills or whatever, but there was a bunch of partitions happening of this land, and it kind of went all over the place. I can't remember who obtained the land, but to bring this quiet title, but they wanted in favor. And then it ended up with the Doolin family, and then for some time there, right afterwards, Ida Edmonds then conveyed this property to the now the conservation county, because wildlife and stuff was the precursor to conservation. And there was nothing, and I said this too, there's really no trail that kind of makes sense, but and part of the things I had to prove in this case is, did people in other legal recordings say that this property is essentially ours? So when I went through, like, say, probate records, other land deals, and looked up, like, say, land descriptions for this area, it constantly said, except for the 1 acre property. Except for the 1 acre property in the southwest corner. And would say those. So that right there was my proof, and why the judge, I believe, ruled in our favor to support the legal theory. In that this property's ours, and he agreed. I mean, we're past the stage for, it's other stuff to be brought up, but that order reflects, that judgment decree, I should say, reflects how that property is seen, which is, it's in the county's name in fee simple, which means We have it free from any other restraints or anybody else, like it's ours, if that makes sense. So like, say for instance, we don't have this covenant restraint anymore. No longer, it's gone. That's why we brought this in the first place. Kind of get this said and done. And there's other ways people could use it and whatnot, but that's just how we did. And that there was no record, which there wasn't, and it's required by law to have records that you want to retain this interest. And the Supreme Court supports that because it supports due process. And so it's constitutional.
Can I just toss in that we never said, 10 minutes worth of your speech is about what David Thompson said back in 2017. The county owns the property. We're not saying we don't, the intent is what we're talking about. Legal speak, I knew it's coming, but that's,
I need a 2-minute break.
So,
No, it's our after lunch bell. It's interesting, lunch break is over. It's the way I've always interpreted that.
That's the word.
who is Gerald and Karen Richard? Do they own that property?
That's who we bought it
yeah,
from.
we bought it from them.
Okay. They're the ones that have the easement for the water.
For their house
For their
and for
house.
Arbuckle's house. There was easements all over the place out there, specifically easements that are shown.
Describe, show.
And at the time
We
was
know
going
about
on, and sewer easements, and you mentioned sewer easement, there's no sewer to that property.
Yeah.
We should have known that.
He probably didn't know that.
That's fine.
There's no sewer.
My plat book here does not have the address, the 911 address, in it. It's got, where it's, the square block is in the book here, but it don't have the address. I can't look it up. But in the easement here, it does have, 911
Yeah,
address.
that's Arbuckle's.
That's Arbuckle? Okay, my next question to you, Gary,
Yep.
is there a deed to this property, this 1 acre property where the doghouse is on?
Yeah, the 1949 one, and when I tried to go and figure out like the process for that, essentially they go down, it gets recorded through the auditor and whatnot that this judgment happened. There's no new deed that occurs. The judgment essentially just says, your deed is clear. You're clear of title from all restraints. That's the whole purpose of that, and a judge's order would have that power to do so. So that's why I presented it. That's almost like, I don't wanna say acts like a deed, but in a sense it kinda acts like the deed. Cause I just need to provide caption, the legal description, and then of course the judge's signature.
How have we dealt with the school properties? Because I know they're all over. How many of those does the conservation have total?
I think we have 2 more, and we were just gonna open them up to bid the same way.
Is that how we've dealt with all of them?
Yes, they were open to bid,
They were all put out for bid.
yes, I believe so.
So this is now in the city limits?
Yeah, it has been since '04. I would just have to, I mean, the resolutions, for the, I'm assuming there's resolutions that they did back in '04 for the county. But I mean, if you go look on Beacon, and I'm sure if you go look on the plat map, I mean, it has the property in the city limits. Yep.
So whoever buys it,
Yep.
they have to abide by whatever ordinances the city has for city properties for what they do with this property.
As far as say, the reason I provide like the whole water thing is I want the sense too that, you know, you do get water. You know, you're in city limits, you do get water, and I got not conservation, wow, confirmation, that's the word, from, the city of Benton water worker, or that, you know, is connected up to their pipings and stuff for the city.
That's not a city main, that's a private line. That's a big difference.
Yeah.
They've been getting water, there's no doubt about it, but it's a private line run across our property, not down a
Without
fence
an
line.
easement.
Without an easement.
Yeah, that's how,
And we are gonna fight that.
Yeah.
that's how utility easements work, but. that's-
No,
easement.
there's
that's-
utility easements all over that parcel, you're talking about, that are platted and show.
Describe.
Arbuckles, merchants, the one to the county home, all over that place. Not a thing says about a private line going across our field to the schoolhouse.
Well, that's what the city, because that's their easement. But we do get,
Check with the city.
They- Good idea.
We will, but can we go back to the intent? I mean, can you guys, you keep asking for the legal stuff and the legal stuff. We've said you own it.
Yeah.
We've said, just think about, Ida Edmonds. I mean, the whole thing about wildlife refuge forever. And you go, screw it. And that's you guys' the place that you can say, to heck with them and their legal talk, that kind of stuff. There is a way that you can make something happen that just doesn't say, oh, loophole, she dead and gone, and how are we gonna sell it? And we're done arguing it. I mean, we'll lose, if let the lawyers keep talking, we'll lose. And when we never once said, and we didn't go to him for opinion, we went to him to see the easement, and he said, we can't talk, didn't ask for an opinion or advice, because we know he's the assistant county attorney.
This railroad piece, Mike,
Yeah,
you have easement of it or you own it?
we own it, and we would grant an easement to the county for a bike trail, hiking trail, horseback riding trail, forever, till I die, and then I guess we'd lose it. 21 years would
And
last.
how big a piece is this?
An acre, whatever you want.
6/10 of an acre is what.
If it's whatever's
Acre.
parcel for parcel, is wide enough easement to get you from the Stony Arch to the county property to enjoy. No strings, no nothing, just, and so we're giving up an acre, we're taking an acre. We're farming the same amount of stuff, no money's changing hands. You ought to be able to make it work, instead of saying, oh, that's too much work. And that was the quote. Oh, that's a good idea. She says a good idea, but no.
Not for an easement. For a land swap, that was the only thing I was willing to even entertain.
and it's illegal per the code.
Yeah,
We can't do it.
not an easement.
We can't do it.
Yeah, well, that's
Against the law.
kind of the answer we expected.
I have one more question for this. I have a statement. These two gentlemen are my wife's cousins. Am I able to vote on this?
If you don't feel comfortable, you can abstain, you still have a quorum.
Board of Supervisor Chair, what did you feel?
It's up to you.
Okay.
If you feel uncomfortable. I agree originally on that for a wildlife refuge next to the highway. That's like feeding a dog and cat in the middle of center line on the road. It's stupid. But I guess to look at, just set this to ease, just sell it, you guys buy it, and then do what you wanna do with it. I don't think it's gonna bring much money, that's my personal opinion.
And I think, we just have to go according to the code, which I think, like, if we go with the sale process, it's sealed bids.
How much, just ballpark, you probably never put, how much does the county have in this? Because somebody's paid for guardian ad items and everything in this.
When we put a new roof on it and windows and we had it insured and stuff and VFW did a lot.
I mean, just in this,
Oh, and that alone,
in this legal stuff that's been done.
the legal stuff that's been done?
Probably 1,800.
Right.
Works cheap.
We can pull it up, 1 second.
Except for the abstract?
What's that?
Yeah,
All the
the,
legal work is
all the
done.
legal,
the
I
bills
forgot about
that
the
came in.
abstract.
Yeah, those were,
Because like, that's part of the thing is too, we would have had to get a new abstract regardless. And, probably gonna have to for the other properties as well.
Why do you have to do all that when it already, supervisors already had been told by the county attorney, you own the land? Why keep lawyering? God.
It's still long.
Well, okay.
I'm just wondering if we got more money in this piece already than it's worth.
Well, it's assessed at $90-some thousand.
$97,000 on the books.
And it's 6/10 of an acre according to Beacon.
40,000
Look up
for the
Beacon
land.
and see where the lot lines
40,000
are.
an acre.
It's
for
nowhere
6/10 of an
near
acre.
what they've been using.
Its assessed value of the land is $38,000 for 6/10 of an
And we're
acre.
probably the only ones that could afford paying that kind of price.
And the building's 60,000.
Adjacent landowners.
Wow.
So if it keeps that value, then the taxes will
Guess I would
cost
bid
something.
on it.
We will, when you put up for sale, and the people that buy it better be aware that there's gonna be some litigation going on. Are they gonna get clear title because of that water line? We will
Yeah.
fight it. And
We will.
we're gonna drag it out. Because they automatically get drug out when you hire lawyers. Because we don't agree with this cock and bull stuff about the parcel A easement. That's a total mistake of what intent was of that, and that was just to get that line run up to Arbuckle. And the dates will contradict your dates. When you really dig deeper, you didn't quite dig deep enough to when stuff actually happened. You'll find things put in before the easements were even happened, so you haven't quite done all your homework.
Well, you gotta actually read the easement too. It's 3 separate deals. It's talking about the land and then itself. And
So do you want to participate in this, Ron?
sure.
And we get a motion to either approve or deny. I guess we gotta close the hearing first, don't we? Okay? All right. Any more comments? Public hearing is closed. Now, I get a motion to either approve or disapprove the selling of the Dogtown property.
I'll make a, excuse me, motion to approve the sale based on the judge's rulings and everything there.
And I will second that
We have
motion.
to follow the law.
Okay.
We have to follow the law.
Call for a vote by name.
Tippit, aye.
Seaman, aye.
Vote
That's
aye.
right.
Not surprised, but with that or say. Hopefully, maybe some people who are watching on the video might help a little bit, just sleep better.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry for the delay.
All right. Now for the public hearing for the property. The Sherburne property.
Yeah.
Sign one more of these?
I think that's the other, oh, right, never
Yeah,
mind. I'll
it's
do
a
that.
resolution for the first one.
Eric, you wanna give a short rundown?
Yeah, short rundown. So this property was former railroad property, and when you look it up from a camera's view, it literally looks like it would be just like a road. It looks like a road. It's narrow. It's about, they say 67 acres. And it was the railroad property until it was abandoned, and the Chevrys got this property from the railroad. And then, I know there was some, surveys done that was connected to the land, but it's not part of this land, there was stuff around it. And then two, and, I think I have a copy of it, a warranty deed from the Chevrys was done in, what is the year, 2015, so a warranty deed is essentially, that landed perfectly. This warranty deed essentially, like quitclaim deed, you're not given a guaranteed title of the land. When you do a warranty deed, you're giving almost like a guaranteed title to the land. So that's essentially was the promises given to conservation at the time. And given the size and nature of this property, I know conservation did not think it meshed up with conservation goals. And given where this is set, it's set kind of like in between some farmland and then of course Terra Hills Golf Course. I think it's just right south of that, if I'm getting my directions right.
Hold up if you guys wanna see.
Yeah, she's got it pulled up.
I'm very familiar with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got it?
He says he has a lot of golf balls over
I
there.
got more than 100 in there.
Yeah.
So, there's the golf course.
Might as well buy
I
it,
used
gets
to
good
remember.
recoup.
Down the
So the golf balls.
Okay.
And people
Poison
use it
everything
even
else
in
out
pictures.
there.
Yeah.
That's
the problem.
So we were getting ready to manage it, and we're like, rather than that.
Yeah. And so,
Yeah, I figured with the.
and I know instead of re-going over all the stuff, you know, there's only certain things we can do with the code. Like, even if it's a land swap, it's gotta be something like this, and they're not gonna want that anyway. So, it just makes sense to just sell it and go through that process. I don't know how much it's gonna bring, but, that's just probably the best way to go about it to be in compliance.
Does this have a deed to it, or is this it?
That's a copy of it. I took it, I scanned it,
Understood?
and, I just need to get it certified. If you would want an official copy.
I don't need an official.
Okay.
I'm just worried if they have. Is this it?
That's the big thing, so Tracy, yeah, so the big thing is they provide us a warranty deed and everything, and I can pull, because Beacon kind of has a rundown of stuff that happens before that. And I didn't think it was necessary to bring all those other ones, just for the fact that, when it's a warranty deed, the person who's selling that property is saying, giving promises to the buyer that we have title to this property. And so if there's any sort of problems, then it kind of falls back on them. But to answer your question, I just have to pull it up, because it's, I think they've kind of been, if I remember correctly, they've been in possession of it from 1992, when he got me
I
covered,
was
yep.
gonna say, sorry, I got it right here.
Yeah, so, yeah, and I pulled those deeds before, and back in 1990, that's when the Chicago, Milwaukee Corporation sold it to Chevrys. And then, the reason why this next part is blank, I was curious, it was a survey and, done on property just around it. So it had nothing to do with like our property, I think it was just, they just attached it as such. And then in 2015, conservation, and I mean, thank you for that, I was having troubles getting it up, working for me. And so I didn't feel it was necessary to bring that, just because like the way it was showing, and of course, I think we still, obviously, when you do excuse me, land transactions, we of course will have to still get a, abstract for it to provide for for closing and stuff.
Can you guys do that?
What's that? Yeah, we can go, yeah, we just order it from Benton County Title right across the street.
$700.
Well, this one might be a little bit different.
Yeah.
The previous one, you know, given the uniqueness of it, we had to ask to go back a little bit further for the court's sake, because it just didn't make sense. For this one, because they normally only go out 40 years because of Markable Record Title Act. So it shouldn't be nearly as constraining. Honestly, it might just be 2 pages, just because it's been railroads forever until 1990 by the looks of it, from what I've seen.
Anything to add?
We ended up with the west end of that 50-foot right-of-way for a mile. Back when it went to Shervany's, I don't know how, he must got in ahead of us or something. But best use is let us take care of it. Right now, it's a weed mess with scrub trees everywhere. Ag ground on one side, golf course on the other, it's 50-foot wide. Shervany tried to sell it for lots, but he couldn't because it's only 50-foot wide. That's why he gave it to the county so he could write it off. I mean, that's what happened. So we would like to end up with it and maintain it and take care of it. It's best use for the property. Right now, it looks like there's a trail going through there. We don't need that either.
Really?
We just assumed that we wouldn't have them drive. It could be on our tear up a golf course in no time, so it'd be nice if we own it, we can cut it off.
I assume they're running forwards and up
It's
and down.
pretty well-traveled trail, looks to me like.
Yeah, I can see.
So at least if we end up with it, at least you get some tax revenue off it, I guess.
Yeah.
Right now, you're getting nothing.
And you're interested for Terra Hills part of it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep, I'm here for Terra Hills.
Yep, okay.
So I just came to see what we're gonna get talked about.
Yeah, this one's pretty clean, to be honest. It's just a really weird property.
We got no water lines on it?
No, we don't
We
have
got
any.
no buildings?
Sorry,
on
I'm
it?
sorry.
I thought Terry Hills owned it all along. I never looked.
Well,
Never checked.
when the railroad got rid of it, we ended up with the west half mile.
Okay.
So at where the clubhouse is, back to the east, lining it up, this Shervany got in there on it. I don't know how, but, so we gave $600 for the west half back whenever that was, 92. So, just saying, I hope we end up with it, and you'll get some tax revenue, and we can take care of it.
And I think part of it too, like the sealed bid process, I'm assuming would be the process going forward, like, there'll be a day where we'll announce it on the agenda. And I think per the code, because I know we were talking, I think like they'll reveal the highest one, and then if people who have bids want to like bid it up, and someone else, you know, just to go there, I think that's part of the process, if I'm not mistaken.
Can we cut to the chase and just have an auction? I'd like to know what I'm paying for it.
That's what I would like. to
Okay.
do.
Okay,
Be simpler on our part.
you know,
What did he ask? I missed that.
do an
Have
auction.
an
He
auction.
wants an auction.
I can look to see, I mean, I've seen auctions in the code, I just have not looked. I mean, obviously, when I think of auctions, I think of sheriff's auctions, but,
Well, obviously, the property's not worth a lot to anybody else,
Well, who's gonna want?
and, yeah, because you can't do anything with it,
no,
but
and I get that.
I want to buy it as cheap as we can, but the county wants some revenue, I understand that. But I don't like to go in there with somebody out
Did you?
bids me, and then I got to deal with another
Yeah.
outfit.
I would have to do a little,
Just saying, auction would be cleaner for us, but you guys
We would
decide.
still have to public notice
Yeah.
of how we're gonna do it.
Right.
I would just have to do a
The
little,
auction that other place did.
That's, there you go. That's what I was thinking, of, just do both.
Auction them both and be done with it.
That's my opinion.
I'd be great with that.
You know, how farms have been selling the last couple of years, that, you know, the highest 5 bidders on that farm. Then they go to that lawyer's office and have an auction amongst them 5. It gets rid of the looky-loos to see what's going on.
Let's just cut to the chase.
Right. I'm not saying that's wrong, but I
No,
just, you know, if
I feel the same
you're
way.
the one interested in it, I just assume, right, today's the day, we're gonna find out whether I own it or not.
Right.
Okay. Well, if that's as far as it's gonna go, you know, you can approve the sale of it. You would just have to touch up the resolution to say, sale that that fits the code of Iowa. I bet sealed bids, because I just thought that was just the way it kind of went.
So then
here,
we'd have
so-
to amend the prior one if you're gonna do them both that way. Or your, amend your motion anyway.
Yeah, that's a sealed bid.
Yep.
Well, you just gotta change the amendments.
Essentially, so I would have to do research to make sure that we're good to go on that, because like, I just was always under the impression sealed bids, so.
I like the idea of the auction. That we're just,
I grew up a
Right out
farm
the
kid,
check,
and
it's
that's,
over.
that was fun Saturdays. with
Both
grandpa,
accounts.
You know, going auctions.
Well, let's get back to the first thing. Can I get, public hearing is closed.
I think
All right,
Derek's
so,
633.397, maybe,
633.
.397.
can I get a motion to either approve or disapprove the selling of the surety property of Van Horn?
I'll make a motion to approve the selling of the property.
I'll second.
Offer a vote by name,
Tippit, aye.
name and I.
Bull's eye.
Okay, that's done. Now, I'll let you research that, Jerry.
Mm-hmm.
We will not sign this one.
Until we get fixed.
Are you gonna do bid or auction on the other one? Or leave that one?
I think it's make it fair all the way around. I mean, Shelby, I know you were thinking about just sealed bids, right?
Yeah, just to make it easy so that way we can just do showings when people want to see them for a couple of weeks and then they turn their bids in by a board meeting. It was working out okay the last time, but
Okay.
Just
but,
needs-
I mean, I,
The surety property, we'll do that by auction for sure.
okay.
Do that for sure. The dog pound, I really don't care one way or another.
I like the idea of the auction, then we're just, it's done, it's over. If it's allowable by law.
Yeah, we would have to change all the resolution. We would just have to amend the resolution,
Just this one, right?
just the one, yeah.
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 This one we're not gonna sign.
No, I'm talking about like
The
with
first one
with
we
the
did.
animal shelter, because it had sealed bids on it.
Yeah, but I mean, if we stay with, well, you want to go, I don't care.
This,
If you guys wanna go sealed bids, we'll go sealed
'Cause-
bids.
yeah, because
So At
Otherwise,
at
I
least
like
there's
the
something to
idea of
look
the
at there,
auction.
where this is just bare ground and weeds, so.
Yeah, because we gave several showings, just like individual showings for the property for this one. I haven't had any interest in the second.
I think you're gonna have, I think honestly sealed bids might not just be bad, just with that one anyway, because I know they've had questions about that property and whatnot, and it just might not be bad to just then open them up here and see what it is, because given the location of the property too, it's a good location.
And
can
sometimes
we
you
do
can
that
give them the
for this one?
option to increase it at the time of the hearing. too.
Correct.
It's gotta be reprinted.
Right, so but we can approve it
Yep.
pending the amended,
Amend it, or you could
state that it's a-
As long as-
Resend your motion and change it accordingly, or amend your motion and we'll change the code section in
so we
but
make a
Derek
motion
wants to
sell it.
Yep.
And then we just have to amend that to say that it's going to be changed to auction.
I would amend the Resolution 25-84, the Sherman Wildlife Area, if it's applicable by
You
law.
can say sealed bids or auction, as applicable in accordance with Iowa law.
To allow for sealed bids or by auction as it applies to Iowa law.
That's your new amendment.
Yep, that's my amendment.
I'll second
I
that.
don't know if it's,
Talk
No,
over.
I was trying to find it.
Tippit, aye.
Aye.
Bull's eye.
That's on the Shirley property.
Can I ask a question on the first property? He threw some numbers out, what the land was worth and what the building was worth. Was that anywhere close to what it actually is? I never looked it up.
it's a pretty rundown building.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He had threw out 38,000 for the land and 16 for the building.
I mean,
That's what he threw out.
incredible.
But it's exempt.
I was just curious, because I don't know. I didn't look it
I
up.
think that's what it has.
They have to put the exemption value at maybe, and I don't know how long ago that value was put into that.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know either. I just know
You'd have to
that
ask the assessor that.
that building's been there since 1970 something.
Been dog pound the entire time.
And the VFW did do some
Yes.
updates.
They did.
So,
Imagine the smell.
Has it in
Just watch
97?
the papers, we'll let you know.
All right,
yeah.
Mike
Yeah.
takes care of you.
she'll let Carrie know and we'll go from there.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Because I can't match it.
Thanks.
No problem. Sorry you had to sit there.
It's all right.
Entertainment was.
It ain't raining anyway.
Government at work, right?
Yeah.
Thanks for what you guys do.
Yeah, no problem.
Safe travels.
The first one, I just wanted to make sure we disposed of it in the same manner as we have the rest of the school properties.
Most of them have been by the sealed bid.
Actually, we haven't sold, we need, because we were gonna try to sell the other ones too, and this was like our run through, because we have 2 or 3.
School properties, yeah, I remember.
Yeah,
you
it's
told
three.
me.
We have a lit of 3.
We had 3, we only have 2 now.
And there's buildings on them too?
No, there's like
Looks like
foundations.
they're just
or-
those little squares,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes,
Yes.
trees or a jungle.
Because we were trying to find if we could find in the wording a way to give it back to the neighboring landowner even. But
One of them says that.
one of them said it and then other ones didn't, and we're not this messy, but I think that it would be down the.
Yeah.
Is there anything that the historical preservation, do they have any say in any of that stuff?
I don't think so, because we talked about that, because there's not actually anything standing in there.
That's what I was gonna say, like, if there's a schoolhouse there,
Then, yeah,
there'd be,
but then we'd probably manage it against them.
So wasn't
Right.
there a piece
Right.
over by the nature center?
That was the,
That
that
was
was the
that
hole
one,
in the
yeah.
ground.
Yeah,
so. No,
That's the only one I can think
working
Yeah, and I
together,
think
trying
that-
to get these
Oh,
land
Sure.
things.
It'd be nice
Huh?
when you guys visit for a
Yeah,
way, won't it?
that was one that was, there was proper, the
yeah, you could
abstracts
transfer
stated,
it,
you
like,
could you could trace it.
'cause that one went to Wason's, right?
Yeah, and then the other one, we were trying to find it and it wasn't there, I don't think, or something. I don't remember, or did
One
we get
north
that
of
one?
Van Horn.
Did we get that one transferred?
No, the one north of Van Horn is still the
Yeah.
conservation.
So over the years, these have all been, we're just down to, this is what's left.
No, we have 2 more.
One more,
One more?
yeah.
I thought we had 2 more. Okay. The one by Van Horn.
Yes, north of Van Horn.
There's no building on that either.
No, none of them have,
No,
they're
they're just
all
grown up.
less than an acre and they just have some trees on them. All of them.
There's a jungle.
So if that
And we don't
encourages-
even have access to them is the annoying part. We don't actually have driveways into
Yeah,
these
there's
1
no
acre properties to
driveway.
manage them. They're landlocked.
Yeah.
So that's another reason we've been like, we'll give it to you, but like, we need to but we can't, legally we can't unless the deeds and everything say we have to. So,
Because that's the problem, the purpose of that is essentially not using government as a tool
right,
to get cheap land.
right.
I thought you just called the government the tool.
That's,
I can see how that could come off, but that wasn't,
Do it for $1.
I've been called
Do
worse.
it for $1. They say, we'll sell this back to you for $1. You know?
but then you have to offer it to everybody, just like we have to offer surety, even though.
But if it's a
it makes-
landlocked piece, what, you
I know,
got,
I
you
know.
can't get there. Parachute?
No, it's-
I'm aware.
Yes.
Yeah, you know where to get out.
Yeah. Cannon?
What's that?
You know where Russ and Doug
Parachute
are.
cannon in.
You don't,
I mean, what are you gonna do?
they've got an old
Yeah, yeah,
stone
yeah.
schoolhouse on there.
Yeah, we should probably adjourn for that.
So are we gonna go back to that other first resolution, or are you just gonna amend it at a future meeting? The dog pound one,
No, we're gonna.
leaving it as is,
I-
perfect,
It's
Yeah,
Whatever.
I'm fine with that.
okay,
Yeah.
so that'll be the, Sealed bids. okay. So Derek and I will post, we'll have to set dates, we'll do that on a future agenda, set the dates for those, and then we'll have to do our public notices, so, yeah. To
And
be
we'll have-
determined,
And we'll have to do a resolution for that too, so
yeah.
please be patient, because I'm gonna be out of the office for almost the rest of this week. I'll probably be in Thursday afternoon, so,
That's fine.
yeah, amongst the other stuff I gotta do, so.
Oh, just keep this straight so we remember what our next.
Nope, I got
Yep.
notes down.
I got to. So, we're gonna meet Thursday morning at 8:30 this week.
At the ranch.
Here, well, that's tomorrow. Tomorrow's the Cedar Valley Ranch. Thursday, after the earlier meeting today, we're having a meeting Thursday morning at 8:30
Oh, with Our Lady,
with our applicant,
our applicants. Okay.
okay? 8:30. You can get out and then you can go farming. It'll still be wet in the morning.
I hope you done.
I'll have my little mustache hat on.
Bus driver hat.
I love
Alright, just making sure.
it. 8:30, Thursday.
8:30, and Bruce, give or take a few minutes, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I will stay under the speed limit, because I'm in trouble.
Smart Bruce, because that'd be.
Especially in the school bus. You have to in the school bus.
Maybe you could get an escort. Right ahead of you, just
Alright,
siren.
so you're adjourning?
Return.
Yeah, can I get a motion here?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Tip and I.
From the eye?
Gold eye.